Hey everyone. So a lot of people haven't been asking how I do my drawing, so I thought I would post a little video about how I actually go through and make the drawings that I've been doing. So I've been using charcoal a lot. Actually, that's exclusively what I've been using until I draw on black paper, and then in which case I use white chalk. But today I'm just going to do something in something not black, something on um, white background. And so whenever I'm drawing something, I just try to get a general outline of whatever the shape is that's going to be. And so just kind of start off. Usually I'll start off with making some boulder lines, and then I'll kind of line them up as I go. But usually I use a reference image and kind of get a general shape of whatever it is that I'm going to draw, and just kind of proceed from there. And then I'll usually use some kind of picture for reference, and then kind of work off that reference little by little, just to establish where I'm going with whatever I'm drawing. So usually that's kind of how I start off with things. I'll try to establish a lot of times just kind of maybe where a brow line is, and then I'll also kind of decide where I want the face to look, which angle everything is at, and kind of establish just the tip of the head down to the chin. Establish maybe the halfway point where the brow line is going to be. Halfway between that is usually where I'm going to put the nostrils at, and then in between there is usually where the mouth is going to be at. So I'll kind of work off that and figure out exactly where I want to proportion everything out. But what I usually like to do is kind of cover a lot of the material, or a lot of the picture, the surface area that I'm working with, just in as much, well, I guess you could call it chaos as possible, just to kind of give the ability to work some darker imagery into here, and some dark and some light as well. And this kind of comes in handy as later whenever you start actually putting more detail into the drawing. But right now it's just basically trying to get a general shape of whatever it is that you're going after for the drawing. So again, it's just trying to figure out where things are going to be at first. And it's like here I place the nostrils, and then I know that the upper lip is probably going to be about right in here somewhere. And so right now it looks like the brows are a little bit high, which is okay. It's not something we can adjust a little bit later, but I'm looking at putting pupils probably right in here. And so that's where the eyes would actually go. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of blot that out, make a general eye shape over in this area. And I'm going to darken the whole thing just so that way I have something to work with in a little bit. This is not necessarily laying down material to put the eyes in right now, but for just a little bit of a reference in the brain is kind of what we're going for here. So again, got nostrils on this side. I'll start working on the upper lip on this side here. And right now I'm just using this I don't know what you call it. It's almost like a little palette knife, but for chalk drawing. And so I'm using this just to kind of lay down a little bit more material at this point. So I'm looking at it now, and it looks like the eyebrows are going to be a little too expressive if they're up that high. So I'm going to kind of redo those, and I'm going to bring them down just a little bit here, like right in this area. Otherwise, it looks like this image is going to have somebody with a very surprised look on their face, so don't necessarily want that. In some applications, that's good, but for this one, I'm going to leave that out of there. So this one, we got an upper lip there. We're definitely going to have a lower lip down in here, so adding some shadow behind that just to put in for what the lower lip is going to look like. You can already kind of see what the general shape is going to be. I think those nostrils are a little bit too low, so I'm going to raise this up just a little bit higher there. I can always go back and kind of knock some lines out of it and see what develops. And it really just depends what the drawing starts to look like, or what you like, whatever you're drawing, as to how you want it to look. You can already see the general shape coming to form with the bottom lip, upper lip, and the nostrils. And then the eye is going to kind of grab whatever it wants to out of there, make whatever it wants out of it. I'm in no way, shape, or form or a professional artist. Do have artistry in my family, but I don't claim to be an artist whatsoever. That's just not me. My actual dream is to be a professional beach bum, and I don't really want to be the homeless type. I actually want to have somewhere to live And so what would really help me achieve that goal of being the professional beach bum is if you would like and subscribe these videos on this channel. And you know, I'll promise to keep documenting my life as I go along. And yeah, if I get to be if I get to reach that beach bum status and just have some finances coming in through YouTube, that would help me achieve that goal a whole lot faster. So help me help you by producing videos of me being a beach bum by liking and subscribing. But I'm just kind of working in some more detail here, just trying to figure out where I want everything. And I almost think I like the eyebrows up here. They don't look terrible right there. But I'm going to leave it for now, but you can always take it out of there later and figure out whether you want to keep what's in there or get rid of what's in there. But it's really, there's nothing too set in stone at this point. So I'm kind of lining up all everything that I have outlined here. And like I said, no way in shape or form a professional artist, but I've kind of learned just from others, and you can really learn anything off YouTube, right? And so I'm trying to keep proportions right, and that's one thing I'm trying to learn as I go. I guess I'd freely admit that I'm still very much learning how to do all of this, and I guess you're witnessing my journey as I go along as well in these videos here. So most of the videos that I put up are time lapses. This one I wanted to go a little bit deeper in and kind of give a little bit more of a background of how I'm working through all this. Because again, just very infantile in my artistic stages here. Like I said, my mother is a refined artist. She's actually a mural artist, so she works on a much larger scale. Her artwork is great. My grandfather was quite the artist. He was more of a traditional painter. But both of them are great artists, and yeah, they've taught me a lot throughout the years. And just watching their progress and their artwork is definitely inspiring. And so right now in my stage of life, I got ample time on my hands to kind of explore what art should look like and kind of explore what I think it should look like. And this is about not very many months. I've been working some of these mediums to try to figure out what exactly I liked and what works well for me. And I've always gravitated towards chalk. Chalk has always been kind of a fun thing for me to draw with, and so it I guess it just naturally led into charcoal. And charcoal just seems like it's a fun medium to work with. I really like it. I enjoy doing it, and it helps me. I guess in a way it's more forgiving than other methods of art that I've tried to perfect. And like I said, I wouldn't call myself an artist at all, but at least through my exploration of artistics, I've come across trying to learn some different methodologies, and it seems like this charcoal kind of suits me the best at this point in my artistic exploration, I guess you could say. And so here I'm just taking away some material using these kneaded erasers, and they've been well worn for sure. Probably about time for some new ones, but using those to kind of create some hits of light within this drawing here, and just kind of express a little bit more of what's happening. And I've got, like I said, a reference over here that I use to really work off of to try to get angles and some of the way the light bounces off of the image, kind of in perspective as much as possible. There's nothing like making a video to realize how many times you say but yeah, this is kind of what I do whenever I'm working through this, is try to figure out what looks good. And every once in a while I have to take a step back and reassess, see if I'm headed in the right direction, see if I like what's going on, and then kind of reassess and then attack it from a different angle if I need to, or take a little bit more away, put a little bit more in, just depending on how things are going. And so I've got this little eraser pen that my kind mother sent me, and this thing is just great for putting in little details and little highlights here and there. And so it definitely helps brighten up pictures a little bit more whenever you need to. And sometimes with charcoal. Charcoal can be a little harsh, and so putting in stronger details kind of contrast a little bit more. And if you really want to highlight a point, charcoal can help you. These little detail erasers can really help to emphasize whatever you're trying to highlight. And so in this instance, just trying to make the nostrils a little bit more clear and the tip of the nose a little bit more prominent. I was able to kind of pull that out just a little bit more. It did get a little bit too sharp on the edges, so I'm just going to blend it together a little bit more with my finger there and just kind of bring it back to where it needs to be. And I'm really looking at my reference and trying to figure out where's the dark areas, where's the lightest areas, what areas need to be touched up just to make it more realistic and bring the pop a little bit more to what there is in there. Some of the reference I got, there's a little bit of teeth showing through. I liked putting teeth in whatever I'm working on, whatever drawings I'm doing. I don't know why, it's just kind of a fun way to do it. So it's always an adventure to try to figure out where the teeth actually need to go without messing up the drawing. And so usually I pick right about the middle of the mouth. And I'll just lighten it up just a little bit, kind of figure out how wide that mouth is going to be open. In this case, that kind of looks about right. Just a little bit of teeth showing through, not much, just kind of a natural expression there. So maybe whiten the bottom just a little bit more, and we'll leave the top just a little bit shaded, just so that way it shows some contrast to the top lip pulling out just a little bit more this way. And I'll leave a little bit of shadow on the bottom lip just to show that, you know, the bottom lip has some protrusion covered by the top. So if the light's coming more in and to this side of the frame, then everything above here would be a little bit darker. But if it's coming in this point, the top lip would shade some of that bottom lip. So I'm going to leave just a little bit in there to kind of create the depth in the mouth and off the top of the lip. I'll definitely leave this shadow in right here, but I'll probably fade it just a little bit just because it's a little sharp right there. I'll pull it out just a little bit, and that'll give the illusion that the bottom lip is kind of hanging over just a little bit. I kind of lost some of the symmetry here where the lip looks a little bit fatter on this side. So I can fix that one of two ways, just shortening the shadow a little bit or rounding it just back over this way. So in this case, I'm just going to shorten the shadow a little bit and then kind of blend it as much as possible. And then the eye will just basically make up where the rest of that lip is at. So one of the early on lines that I put in here is stretched right across here. So sometimes the kneaded eraser doesn't quite get that out. It'll definitely dull the line, and sometimes you want that just to give it a little bit more of a gray and not a white. And then sometimes you want the white, and so in this case, I want the white to show through. So I'm just going to take a simple, actually a pink eraser, and just use that to cut some of that out. And you can see that works pretty well just to pull that back out of there. And in this way, I can kind of push some of that light out of there, and I can take some of that light out of there if I need to. And then I can also put more in there if I really want to, in a little bit. But I'm going to take it away at first. I'm going to see what it looks like, see if I want to adjust it at all. Obviously, I'm going to have to add some shadows and some lines back to this in a minute. But I'm going to pull it all out of there first and kind of take a look and see where I want to start putting depth back into there, a little bit more darkness back into it. So right now it's looking pretty good, but I'm going to take the sponge that I have, and I'm just going to go over the top of everything real quick. And that's going to blend everything just a little bit more, make the lines a little bit softer, and then help make, again, some areas that I can highlight in here by just putting some grays in there. So I got the lines on the side of the face a little bit too close together right now. So I want to blend those out because they're creating the illusion that the face stops right there, and that's not what I want. I want it to go on just a little bit more. I'm going to take the sponge and just kind of pull everything back out just a little bit more. And that's definitely going to blur up the image a whole lot, but that's okay because I need to work on it just a little bit more and figure out how I want this to work out and how I want it to look exactly. So now this will give the ability for the eye to kind of make up wherever the rest of the lines are. And so now I can start working on a little bit more of the details and getting some more in there and just kind of brushing it up a little bit more. So I really like this top lip, so I don't want to mess with that too much. But I lost just a little bit of the bottom here, so I'm going to pull some of that back in there. And kind of stretch that out just a little bit more. Now the eyebrows seem just a little bit out of whack there, so I'm going to refine it just a little bit, but I'm not going to do too much with it just yet, just because I don't want to get that far into it. into the eyebrows just yet. That's kind of something I like to do towards the end, is start shaping the eyebrows, but I will give it just a little bit more so I can kind of tell which direction I'm going here. All right. So now that I've gotten that far, I'm going to start creating a little bit more of what the eyes look like in this. And so first I'm going to pull a little bit more light, or push a little bit more light rather, right here. And then I will pop a little bit of light right here. And then I'll push some back over this way. And this will be the white of the eyes here. Now this part I always kind of fret with because it's very hard to put it in there without revealing too much or making an eye out of this. And I mean, an eye is what I'm trying to create. But I don't want to create too much of an eye at this point. I just want to create the basis for what an eye should be in this part. And this is always a tougher part for me just because, like I said, symmetry of the eyes is really hard to create. And trying to meld all this together can sometimes be a real challenge. But it just kind of depends on how brave and how daring I get as to how well this will formulate. Adding just a little bit depth under, or a line for the bottom eyelash under here. And then I'll kind of figure out where I want to put some more highlight in here. This will be like the corner of the eye here. And then I'll almost match it on the other side. Just that way I get a baseline for where this eye should be also. And that first line is always kind of the hardest. Or that, excuse me, the second line, I guess you'd say, is always a little bit of the harder one, just because I'm trying to use that as the baseline to match up this next eye, and then try to figure out where's a good spot to put the actual pupil on this one. It seems like right there is probably a good spot. So I'll make a couple of little lines right here just to kind of to gauge where that's going to be. And that looks like it's a little too far off this way. Just from the perspective of this one, looks like the view is coming out this way a little bit, just over here. So this one looks like it's a little bit too forward. So I'm going to scratch another little etch over to this side and see if I can't kind of move those lines a little bit, figure out where I want to put them. And so if I do that, now I start getting more of an eye, but it's pushed over just a little bit more this way. And then so I'll erase some of this here just to try to get an idea of where this eye is going to be looking. And I can always add more back into it to try to get a good capture of where that eye is going to be. And so right now it's a little crazy-eyed. I don't want that, so I'm going to add a little bit more darkness back into it over here, just to kind of fill in that spot, right? And then so now I got one crazy-looking eye, and then I got one eye before facing this way. But now I can maneuver this one a little bit more to try to figure out where I want this to go. So I'll take some of that out. And now we got some eyes that are almost looking about the same way, but this one's a little bit too much. This is way too high, so I need to bring this down a little bit. And instead of really calm this eye down a little bit more. And eyes are one of the things that kind of scares me to draw just because they're a little bit harder to do. The eyes are so expressive that you can really change the whole entire perspective of the drawing just by the way you position the eyes in the drawing. So that's one that I really have to concentrate on whenever I'm working on anything. And again, it's a lot of trial and error, back and forth, trying to present what you want to, right? To see where it goes. And sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. Not all of them are successes. So obviously with YouTube and the internet and whatnot, anybody can post the most successful or whatever they have, but you never always see the bad in what it is. And so I'll try to put up all the good ones, but there's definitely a lot of bad ones that happen in there. A lot of ones that I had to rework and work several hours on. This one's probably going to be no exception, but I at least wanted to get this one started, so that way you can kind of see what the process is for what I go through on it. And hopefully somebody watches this, but you know, hopefully enough people watch it that I can start my future life as a beach bum, because I'm really looking forward to doing that. That would be great. So now I'm starting to add in a little bit more shadows back to the the image here because I took so much away whenever I went over it earlier. And then so now it's time to start like creating the depth and a little bit more of the figure to this imagery here. And again, these are all things that I'm in practice with right now. In no way, shape, or form can I say that I am an artist and I'm teaching somebody how to do this. Just kind of showing what it is that I do to try to create some of whatever I draw. I think I got a whole 2 comments on one of my previous drawings, and I was super appreciative just to hear that somebody is watching it, or even got a compliment on what I was doing. So maybe for real special. So I appreciate those who added a comment. Makes you know that somebody's watching it and somebody's hopefully appreciating it. There's a million other videos out there you could be watching on how to draw better. So watching this one means a lot. So thank you for whoever's watching it. This video is probably getting a little bit long, so most people have probably checked out by now, but if you're still with me, appreciate it. And again, just working on trying to balance out what this image looks like, right? What the brows need to look like, what does this face look like? What does it say in the end? And adding a little bit of curve of hair in here, because the reference image that I got, there's some hair coming down over the face, and this part is very dark right here around the eyes, and so I'm going to bring those out just a little bit more and kind of blend them into the face just a little bit. That's just a little too dark for my liking. I need to kind of brighten that up just as much as possible. And as I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking back to see where do I need to put some more light in, where do I need to take some out, and where do I need to kind of make adjustments. And looks like right here underneath this eye, there's kind of a little bit of light coming through that penetrates just right in there, right underneath the eye. So I'll put that in there. More of a little bit of a tired look. That's kind of how I've been feeling lately too, so I can definitely relate. A bit of a tired look in there. And again, every once in a while, I'll take a step back, kind of look at the reference, kind of look at what I've got going on so far, see if I like it, see if I need to change it at all, and just kind of work from there. And then kind of work all over the image at one point in time. I try not to stay too fixated on any one area, because if I do that, then I'll start working on something really hard, and then I'll take a step back and realize, okay, I really made that perfect. Everything else is terrible. So I think the expression is the enemy of good is perfection. So sometimes good is just that. It's good enough. So step back and let it be good enough instead of trying to make everything just absolutely perfect. Sometimes settle for just good enough, and then you can come back and take a look at it again and figure out, do I need to put anything more in there? Do I need to change it a little bit? You can kind of decide from that point on, like, what looks good and what doesn't. So just trying to shape the eyes just a little bit more. Looks a little bit funny because there's no eyelashes in there right now. So I usually take a little bit of piece of a firmer charcoal, and I'll just kind of just rub some lines in there. Just a little bit. This kind of just gives it a little bit more of a human look to it. Otherwise, it looks almost like a robot. I definitely don't want robot eyes. And also another big thing that kind of adds some characteristic to it is putting highlights in the eyes. I feel like as soon as a highlight gets put in the eye, like all of a sudden it just transforms the eye 110%. So you see already with the highlight in the eye, it looks a whole lot more natural. It looks like starts looking like a real eye at that point. So for whatever reason, I've gravitated to drawing faces, and female faces are always much easier for me to do than male faces. Why that is, I have no idea, but I've tried to draw male faces many times, and it's just really difficult for me. I just can't seem to grasp masculine faces for whatever reason, but female faces seem to be easier to draw, and I think they're less maybe less features to have to input. I don't know if I'm thinking of that correctly, but yeah, it just seems like female faces just come more naturally to me. But like I said, I'm in my very infantile stages of learning how to draw with charcoal and do this whole art thing all together, really. So it's taken me quite a while to get started and get going, but I like doing it. It's a lot of fun, and it keeps me occupied, keeps me busy. As you probably see from the other videos on this channel, I've got a lot of time right now to work on this kind of stuff. So. But this whole challenge in drawing seems just to be a pushing and pulling of light, and a whole balance of where does light hit the face, and where do I need to take away, where do I need to put in, and that kind of stuff. And so right now I'm kind of working on this half of the face, and just pulling a little bit more away from this, just to create a little bit more light on this part of the face here. And my favorite thing to do is draw on black paper. I really like drawing white on a black paper, but I decided to do a lighter scope today. Again, just pulling a little bit more out of there, just trying to create some more what a face looks like in here. So whenever I do these in time lapse, I'll put them on my Instagram, which is, spell it out, it's HOLLWAY 2709. I'll put those on time lapse, and from that you can't really grasp how long it takes to put these together. And you know, sometimes it can take quite a while to do. Sometimes it's, you know, within 10 minutes you kind of got what you need. Other times you really got to experiment and draw and draw and draw and draw, and then erase, start over, draw again, position everything just right, take away. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes there's a point where you just have to realize, all right, this one's not salvageable. It's not going to go anywhere, and then just kind of relent, put down the charcoal sticks for the day, and you know, I'll try it again tomorrow. But it's fun to do. I have a really good time doing it, and I hope to keep doing it. I promise once I get enough subscribers and followers, enough to become a beach bum and retire, that I'll still keep doing this and put videos up for anybody that wants to watch it. Yeah, it's a great amount of fun. I'm gonna keep working on this one, and then I'll come back whenever I got it a little bit further and closer to done, or where I like it. Hopefully I get to that point. Hopefully I don't have to scrap this one. I think I like where it's going right now, so I'll put a little bit more in here once I work on it a little bit more and kind of grasp what it's gonna look like. I'm not really liking this eye here. I think this is getting a little bit too baggy right here. It's kind of cutting off some of this eye. So I'll probably reshape some of this. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more, and then we'll see what else I can put in this. So this is pretty well wrapping it up here. It's I worked on it for a little bit more, kind of shaped some of the lines a little bit. I definitely wanted to go a little darker with some of the features, so I ended up throwing in some more dark pieces in here, just to kind of make the others pop, and then some more white highlights to really bring out the rest of the drawing. And so you can kind of see how that really adding those white highlights helps out a lot. And those white highlights is kind of where you want to throw them in, but usually the focal point of the face is going to be this portion right here. So that's where I really included as much detail and highlight as I could. Obviously, there's like I said, a whole lot better artists out there, and this one I could still clean up just a little bit more, just to kind of make it look a little bit better. add some more darker features in there and kind of shape some of it just a little bit more, but I'm kind of liking where it's at right now. And I've already been working on this for about close to an hour now. That's about the standard time it takes to help one of these get to where it needs to be. But yeah, thought I'd kind of share that a little bit. And if you like it, then please give it a thumbs up and a like, and let me know what you think. Again, not a professional artist, just putting this out there just gives me something to do, something fun to do as well. So if you like it, let me know. I'll do some more of them. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and let you keep doing what you're doing. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have anything you want to add or anything you suggest, or I'm open to whatever. So just put it in the comments, and I'll get back to you, and I'll take a look at it. And again, appreciate anybody who's looking.